see things and how Gen Z, what I see is that Gen Z is more into thrifting. Thrifting culture, they don't mind to wear someone else's clothes. That's entirely the idea of thrifting, right? They're okay with it.
Okay.
But how many millennials would go buy another thrifting? I don't think so many of us would do that.
Hi everyone, I'm Aravind.
And I'm Parvati.
We're the minds behind Echofied. So Parvati, have you ever felt like you're missing a piece of the puzzle when it comes to understanding your customers or their consumer behavior as such?
Yeah, most of the time, definitely. Because it's very unpredictable at times to give exactly what the consumer wants. Because most of the time, they themselves are not aware of what they want.
True. Agreed.
So, what we try to do is that we try to understand their needs and wants and then to give them that creative value for them. And it becomes difficult because we say there's a saying marketers try to give an apple, but they wanted a pineapple.
Okay. So I think that brings us to our topic today about market intelligence and why it is crucial for a business success, right?
Yes.
Okay. So before we get into anything deeper, Parvati, can you just tell our viewers what market intelligence is all about?
Yeah. So market intelligence is all about understanding your data. Trying to make a story out of the data, or you're observing a phenomena and understanding why such things happen so that you can make a very strategic decision within your organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay. So what are the key components when it comes to market intelligence or market research?
So it can be, we can say that it is, like I was saying, it was basically data. So it can be an industry report, it can be a sales report. It can be basically, you can start from within the organization, like who you are and what you're trying to sell, whether it's a product or a service or whatever it is. So what are you trying to sell, to whom you're trying to sell, and then how do you place yourself within your competition, within your marketplace. So all these things gives you insight to whom to target, if you want to rebrand, how to rebrand. Are you really generating revenue? Does it create any meaning in the market, whether you're doing something and then why you're doing it? So basically we try to understand or answer the question why something happens.
Got it. Okay.
And then what next?
Okay, I think that makes sense for what is market intelligence as such. Why do you think it is essential that market intelligence or market research be a part of any organization, be it a startup, a FMCG product, what do you say, a Fortune 500 company, or any other established brands? Why should they have market intelligence as their, I would say, as their core activity or their main activity?
Yeah, like I said, it gives you, there are two things to it. We can say that it can give you proactive information because before something happening in the industry, your data will be picking up things and telling you some story. So it is basically understanding your data, understanding what the story data is trying to tell you, gaining insights from it, and then taking a decision, informed decision. Or something happened and you're trying to do a preventive or a reactive measure to it. So that also gives you an informed decision. It's very important that why such things happening. So basically brings me back to the latest rebranding that happened in the automobile industry. Is the Jaguar rebranding its logo. Yeah. So how you would see so much people talking about it, a lot of podcasts even why they were rebranding. Is it a marketing gimmick? But then there is an impact in the economy, there is an impact to it in the industry as such. So is it impacting the competition of Jaguar also? So they can analyze all the trends and see patterns emerging from, even to an extent, from how consumers react to it through comments and reviews and all those things.
Okay, understood. So I think before I ask you a little bit more on the Jaguar concept, you said an interesting point about time, right? predicting the future market, right? In today's environment, don't you think it's very fast moving, that everything happens and it keeps on changing momentarily, right? It changes maybe within less than 24 hours. So how do you keep pace with that in terms of market intelligence? How do, let's say, a brand comes up with a plan and the market just changes overnight. So how do you adapt to that and then, make sure that your top line or your revenue, or for that matter, your products are on the top?
Yeah. See, even though we say the changes happen very fast, the behavior of the consumer takes a bit of time to change. So it's like we say you need to change the emotion. Then emotions lead to a change in attitude, and 85% change in attitude changes your behavior. That is theoretically established. So that's what, even though, so first is that how we connect to that particular change in the industry, whether you're liking the change. For example, are you liking the new logo of Jaguar, or why they did it, or whatever the reason. So you're having an emotional connect to it, that leads to a change in attitude, and then, a change in behavior. So it's not like it's happening just momentarily, just like that. It is taking time, but the impact of it is very huge, because we see that we don't have attention at all. We don't listen to things. We are distracted because of a lot of information. That's what we call as clutter in marketing, or noise. Is that we have too much information. Aravind, if I ask you, how many notifications do you wake up to in the morning?
It's maybe 50, 60.
And around in a day, you would receive around 500
easily, I believe,
notifications.
From all my apps and everything.
Everything, many brands, right? How many notifications do you actually read?
Very few. Yeah.
That still tells you a clear picture of how much attention we are giving to things. So it becomes difficult for a marketer to get the attention of the consumer. So are you interested in the first 5 seconds? If you are not, then you're skipped.
Yes.
So that is the key to how to grab attention and as such, and you can know through whether you're scrolling or you're skipping. Also, you have analytics to monitor all those data. So whether whether your reel or your content or your notification have an impact or not.
Understood. Okay. So I think going a little bit off track from the topic, this 5-second short attention span that you talk about, is that what led to this, what do you say, platforms like TikTok and Instagram being popular with their short reels?
Yes. Because anything with 2 digits, when you see the timing, people may think, it's too long. Because and they want something very quick, instant gratification. Instant gratification. You're not gratified instantly. You move on to the next thing. What gives you the instant that dopamine kick in your mind, in your brain? So it's like, even you can see the influence of that even in the music and songs that get released now. Earlier, when when we were kids, the songs that were getting released, the lyrics would come after a long intro of the instruments, and then the lyrics would start. Now the drop and the lyrics and the beat, everything is in the first few seconds, because that is the point. If you're not clicking in that 5 seconds, you're nowhere in the picture.
Okay, so do you think brands like Instagram and TikTok, they changed consumer behavior as such, or consumer perception?
Gradually it has an impact. Everything you do has an impact. So definitely, yes. It's like how in India we have internet is so much cheaper in India, right? There was a period when we had internet for free, like 7 years ago or something. We had internet for free for months. So we got so used to it, changed our behavior. Now, earlier I remember when I was starting my usage of internet, I had 1 GB for month. Today it's like 1 GB per day is not enough. So definitely,
2 or 3 GB per day. Yes, understood.
So definitely all those changes in the industry have an impact on how our behavior, our consumption.
It's more of considering all the factors, right? Your environment around you, the culture, the values. So something that works in India might not work in the US.
Yes, it can, because Indians, we like to take a lot of things as such. We are, even though we have strong cultural and values associated, we are so much of family people. we like to take things, we like to experiment too. So,
what I was trying to say is that every market has their own behavior,
every
own perception of products.
Yes.
Right? So, brands should essentially look at building different types of variants in different markets.
Yes,
right?
I
With
would
their
say,
own twist.
Yes, yes. But even when you consider generation-wise also, there is a difference because how millennials see things and how Gen Z, what I see is that Gen Z is more into thrifting. Thrifting culture, they don't mind to wear someone else's clothes. That's entirely the idea of thrifting, right? They're okay with it.
Okay.
But how many millennials would go buy another thrifting? I don't think so many of us would do that.
Okay, so I think on this topic also, right, Gen Z and millennials, they are, it's a worldwide debate. It's going on. People are not able to understand how they act, how they react. How does that impact market intelligence? Does that impact our activities? How?
So, intelligence per se, I would say anything and everything tells a story, whether it is a millennial generation, whether it's a Gen Alpha or Gen Z or Gen X, whatever it is, it tells a story. So market intelligence per se, there's no change, but every story is different.
Okay.
Every insight you get from that is different. The way Gen Z, consume and their affinity towards so-called sustainable and ethical consumption is different, and the way a millennial perceive it's different. So the story is different, but the basic foundation
got it. So I think it sounds like a classroom with a lot of theories. So can you give out a couple of examples on real life case studies or real life data analysis where data has taken a brand to the next level?
Okay, I would go back to a very old story, not really a story or real life thing. Basically, we call it as a legend or a myth. Is that something that happened in the retail industry?
Okay.
You might have heard of it. It's called the beer and the diaper story.
Yes.
So what happened was that they were analyzing their weekly or monthly sales report, and they saw that on particular days the diaper and beer sale was very high. So they went back and rechecked, and there was a correlation between diaper and beer. And then they analyzed which days this was happening, and they saw that it's predominantly towards the weekends, those are Fridays and Saturdays. So what happens is that Fridays and Saturdays is father who's taking care of the child. Mothers go out. So they would be watching football or something on TV, and they would have to have beer, and they would end up buying diapers and beer cans together. So what they did was they started stacking up beer and diaper in the same aisle. And then the sales significantly went up because it's easy to grab your beer can and also a diaper bag, so it became it evolved into a concept called market basket. You put the similar selling items nearly stacked together in the retail space, so people can easily grab and
back in the 90s or 93 when you said this happened, how do you think the organization did their data reading? Because there was no Power BI, there was no advanced tools available.
These things are very simple. To establish a correlation, all you need is an Excel and your sales report. You don't need to have a Power BI or a simple query would do. SQL query would get your things done.
So it's basically about how a business perceives their own data, right? It boils down to that.
Yes. That's what the first thing we need to know as a business is that who we are and why we are doing it. That trickles down to your data. This is the data I have. This is the sales report I have. So, and these are my clients. How are they taking the sales report? How is the revenue generating over the years, over the months? And then what we can do about it.
Understood. Okay. Makes sense. Okay, so Parvati, I think you've touched a wonderful point. But is there a more relevant, story that you can share in today's world?
There are many stories if you look into it, but I would say the most common one and everyone's familiar brand is Netflix.
Okay.
It's a common name in every household now. Netflix, and there was something called a Blockbuster. I don't know whether you remember. Earlier days, we had something called as DVDs and cassettes, which you can take for rent and you can play movies. And Netflix saw that consumers are changing. because of internet penetration and tech penetration, their preferences are changing, and they saw that there is a huge market for OTT. And that led to a change in the business model as such of how they operate.
Okay.
And Blockbuster didn't take it, and it's nowhere. It's gone, dead and gone. So that is one of the key example of, we can say, that how market intelligence predicted and helped the business. Other example can be of Starbucks. Let's say. Now, Starbucks is you have different kinds of coffee in Starbucks.
Yes.
And when you come to Indian Starbucks, if you go to Indian Starbucks, you will see masala chai.
True.
Or Indian filter coffee. Yeah. Because how much ever you have a coffee and different flavored coffee, Indians, we have an affinity towards Indianized things.
So that comes down to understanding your customer base, right?
Definitely. It's like how McD introduced chicken tikka burger. That's what.
So all brands essentially, whenever they're entering a market, need to understand the market and ideally adapt
to the changes.
To be relevant per se, right?
Yes. If you're not relevant, then you're not in the picture.
But going back to your Netflix story, Netflix has done this across the globe, right?
Yes.
Because that is not something which is geographically specific or culturally specific. The impact of Netflix has been on a global level.
Yes.
They've been able to curate shows, and I think people in India sitting here right now are watching Korean shows.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
That's what Netflix has done. Netflix has expanded the reach
to a huge
the kind of content you can watch. By taking the example of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, which has been a huge debate going on right now, had more viewership than the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
So, what kind of market intelligence did they have in place, or what did they do? Did they look at the data? What did they do to bring in certain content?
Even when you take Netflix, as you know, I definitely agree. They did a huge penetration into the global market, and it's not just because of the what they did. It's because you have so many supporting industries, for example, internet and other platform, giving you opportunity to watch so many things, information which is around the globe. All this acts as a support system for another industry to come up. So Netflix basically came up with a support system of all other industries put together.
Understood.
And Netflix knew these things are already set in place, and there's a gap towards that, wherein I can see a movie or a documentary of some other country which is not available anywhere here, and I can sit in my comfort at my home and watch it. That's what I want.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So
yes.
They saw that there is a gap in the market. Nobody is giving it, and then they went.
How do you think they identified that gap? That's the I think
they would have definitely gone into some kind of predictive mechanism to see that there is a market potential. They would have done a thorough study of the marketplace and saw a gap which they tried to fix it.
Sounds wonderful. What are the tools that you recommend? So smaller companies or other organizations can also have this kind of market intelligence as their backbone?
There are various research tools available. In some CRM itself, you have tools to know your analytics and insights. Even Google has Google Analytics. So there are many tools widely available. AI itself gives you a lot of options. So if you're going to AI analytics, it's like a huge wide area. I think we should, make it as a separate topic as such for the podcast.
Definitely.
And then you have experts, like us, who can help.
So, what you mean to say is that at the end of the day, data is present everywhere, right?
Yes.
It's how you take action on those data. So do you have any tips for entrepreneurs, young founders, business managers out there for, reading the data and understanding their customers better? So, and then probably decoding the black box.
Data, whatever data, all data are relevant. There is no such thing as unrelevant data. That is what I would say. Everything is relevant.
Okay.
It's how good you are to analyze the data.
True.
See a pattern in it, create a story out of it, and try to get a actionable insight out of it, so that as an organization we have a competitive edge, we have a USP or whatever it is, gives us an upper hand over our competition in the marketplace. So
I think that sounds wonderful, Parvati. I believe that brings us to a close with this topic. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down or reach out to us directly, and I think Parvati and I will get in touch with you directly or on the forum itself. Right?
Yes. So if you're into aesthetics, web design, and user experience, stay tuned, because the next episode we'll be talking about that.
So stay tuned for more crazy stories and such, right? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.